tonight that is the image on this coin about Douglas and his grandpa. Douglas is a little boy who lived on the anxious side of life. Nervous kid. And while at his age, riding a bike was a rite of passage, for Douglas it was a wish wrapped in a worry. And he'd sit on that window seat and he'd watch all the other little kids ride by his window. And Grandpa noticed and recognized the feeling. Grandpa said, "Douglas, come on, I'm going to teach you to ride a bike." And Douglas's fear was far outweighed by his joy of getting to spend the day with his grandpa. And they loaded the bikes in the back of the pickup and they took off for Harlow's Hill, best hill for bike riding. Several kids had sledded down to a lost tooth in the winters. And in this moment, it was quiet, as if it were waiting for a small boy and his grandpa to conquer his fears. And they stood at the top of that hill, and Grandpa said, "Douglas, here's the thing. You're going to face a lot of hills in your life, things that scare you, some big, some small. Now, you can sit in that window seat, and you can watch life go by and play it safe. But that's not the best seat." He said, "The best seat is when you can get on the top of that hill, get on that bike. And even though you don't feel brave, you choose it. You think about what if you wouldn't fail, and you start to pedal." And he said, "And if you're really lucky, halfway down that hill, you will realize that something bigger is steering that bike. And you'll raise your hands up off the handlebars in the air, and you'll fly." Douglas looked at Grandpa. Grandpa looked at Douglas. Grandpa nodded, and he gave Douglas a little push. And the two of them on their bikes went riding down the hill. And about halfway down, two sets of hands raised up over the handlebars, and you could hear them squeal in delight. That day, the wind whispered a message to Douglas and his grandpa, and maybe to you. And life is not meant to be lived sitting in a window seat watching it go by. It's not meant to be lived with a tight grip on those handlebars. You won't feel brave. You'll have to choose it. But you just got to put your feet on those pedals. Push off. And trust that something bigger is steering that bike. And loosen your grip. For if you knew the story of where this coin has been, and the magic it has brought to the one whose hands it's in. If you knew how far it traveled and what a difference it has made with the simple words it whispers, what would you do if you were brave? What would you do? I guess the next part is up to you. That was a sorry flip. I'm Kelly Swanson.